Hey Chris, how you doing?
Hey Dick.
We finally get to see you and the Oberheim, and it's a new Oberheim too, right?
Yes, indeed, here we are, yes. So we've got the OBX8 Desktop here at the show. So obviously last year, the big news was the OBX8 full scale, which we've got just behind it here. And this year, we've kind of been, working hard to condense that down into a nice small format. But basically, it's the full OBX8. So, you know, a collection of the OB8, OBX, OBX8, kind of all of those synthesizers in one place. But yeah, we kind of, a lot of people asking about, is there going to be a desktop? Because,
well, it's the way that Sequential do things as well.
Absolutely, I mean, it makes total sense. And the full keyboard version, it's an absolute beast of a synth, of course. But it's big,
I remember trying to get it out of the case onto the review table on my own. It was quite challenging. Yeah.
So this is, the kind of the portable, smaller format. Exactly the same. Everything that's in the X8 keyboard is in here, but just on a desktop, small real estate little package.
Yeah, so, I'm just trying to see what. It's quite. You've had to make those knobs a bit smaller
because
you
can't get the pot caps.
Can't get the collars in.
Yeah, that's right. So the pot caps are slightly different. But what I'm really impressed with is there's still the space. On the keyboard version, you've got a lot of space. There's a lot of kind of, big hands can get in there and manipulate the pots, and that's really kind of retained even though it's a smaller form factor, it's retained that as well. So, yeah, I think it's a really, really neat design job. And when you consider, the amount of stuff that's in the OBX8 as a synth, to get it into this format, I think is quite.
How's the temperature? I can't help but feel it's quite warm in this room, but it is warm outside.
Incredibly warm. Yeah, I mean, I think
it's not all coming from this then.
No, I mean, although we do have quite a lot of analog synths in this room, which is probably going to be contributing. But yeah, I've got a feeling it's going to be a warm Superbooth this year, which I'm pleased about. It's good.
Well, I've not heard your hands on the Oberheim. Have you got some stuff that you just like?
Well, I mean, we can
remind people. We know the OB8X sounds
exactly.
Fantastic,
so I mean, it's got all the same presets in there. So we've got all the usual sort of preset stuff in there. But of course, I like to just go from a basic program point of view. So back to the old sawtooth there, single oscillator. If we take that out, go into the triangle. One thing that I've kind of been enjoying recently is in the page 2 stuff here, which of course is where you get a whole load of additional controls in there somewhere. I think I've gone past. There we go. So we can use oscillator 2's triangle output as the modulation for the oscillator, for oscillator 1. So it's kind of a bit of free FM in there without having to kind of use the cross mod here. So that's something that I've been kind of enjoying. I mean, it's pretty much the OBX8. So I mean, in terms of demo stuff,
what's your favourite patch then, Chris?
What's my favourite patch? Let's see. I guess it's probably going to be patch number 1, isn't it? I think. Let's see. It's an Oberheim. I mean, you just can't get better than that. I mean, it's just there. But I mean, it's got just that creamy filter. I mean, I mean, it's all there, isn't it? Yeah.
Beautiful. So exactly the same stuff, same.
Absolutely. So of course, on the desktop version, we don't have the keys, and we don't have the paddles as well.
Right.
But you've still got all of that stuff. It's just up on this top panel here. So it's all still included, and of course, we've got modulation pitch wheels here. So it's basically going to use the modulation and pitch wheels to act in the same way as the paddles on the full keyboard, but everything else is all there.
I can't remember. Does it respond to poly aftertouch?
It's not poly aftertouch. It's channel aftertouch on it.
Right. Okay.
Not poly. So we've got a little bit of.
But we can still do the same splits and
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's still got the double and the splits on there. So yeah, it's basically it's the same thing. It's just in a smaller form factor, and it's obviously. A lot of people have been really interested in the OBX8, but the size of it is almost prohibitive.
I mean, and it's not an insignificant outlay as well.
No, absolutely.
So this is a bit cheaper,
it's not a cheap.
right?
Yeah, it's not a cheap instrument. It's fair to say that. And of course, the desktop has brought that down. I think on here we've got the pricing written up. It's €3,999.
Okay, so that's
So it's a bit yeah. I mean, I think
couple of grand cheaper actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. Well,
yes, it's a bit of a saving.
1.5.
And it just opens it up to more people. You know, people are wanting this sound, they're wanting this synth, and it's just opening it up to them. So yeah.
Any more sounds? Got any big?
Well,
beefy,
again,
I've
got to be honest, Nick. This is the first time I've actually seen this in the flesh today. So, yeah. So
they only just had it ready. Is
yeah,
that
exactly.
behind the
Just
scenes?
what, yeah, look what I've got in my bag.
That's what we call is we only just got it ready for Superbooth.
But it's true though. It really is. But yeah, I mean, they're all the kind of the usual patches that are in here. I've not had my hands on one long enough to be able to, you know, to kind of program my own patches up.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing I found. It really does. You really do find yourself getting in there and making your own stuff.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of it. I was talking to Jamie from Geosynths about this earlier, actually. And one thing that that just struck me as we were chatting is that, you know, obviously this is based on old synths, you know, the OBX, the OBX8, the OB8 as well. And back in the day when these were coming through from Tom Oberheim, you know, a lot of people were really just kind of, I guess, preset riding at that time, even on kind of the famous patches, you know.
Yeah.
They just, and in the 80s, the analog side kind of dropped away. People started to get a bit more interested in things like the DX7 and that sort of thing. So I think exploration of these types of synthesizers was not quite, you know, I think there were obviously pioneers who would explore and delve deep into these synths, but I think we're living in an age now where there's a lot more kind of understanding of what these things do, and therefore these old synths, they're open now to more.
It's interesting, but I mean, sometimes that kind of simplicity is because you've just got the quality. It's like why there's so many Model D clones, because once you get into it, I mean, on the face of it, it's like, oh, you know, an oscillator into a filter, but when you start digging in, there's a lot there.
You can find those new sort of places that perhaps weren't being fully explored back in the day as well, you know. So I think that's quite an interesting aspect of what, you know, of working on something like this, you know, today. So yeah, let's see. One thing I do really like is the super quick patch change on these as well. You know, it's just very instantly. You know, you're kind of changing through. There we go, from modem to metal arpeggiator in a split second,
in a millisecond.
In milliseconds, yeah.
Oh, Chris,
lovely
thank you so much. And is it? When's it going to be shipping?
Okay, so I mean, this is available for pre-order today, but shipping June, so next month. It's not going to be long at all before it's out in people's hands. So yeah.
Nice one. Thanks very much, Chris.
My pleasure. Good to see you.